And before anyone mentions in the comments, sadly no, I won't be talking about Super Mario Galaxy 2 or why it wasn't part of the 3D All-Stars pack. Because if I was going to review that game, I had to 100% it. I will do a video on Mario Galaxy 2 in the future, I just have to mentally prepare myself.
Well, it took long enough, but here we are, and luckily by the time I finally get to making this video, a Mario Galaxy collection was made available for the Nintendo Switch along with 2 Mario Galaxy themed amiibos, a physical storybook of Rosalina's backstory, and a sequel to the Super Mario Bros. Movie based on Super Mario Galaxy. And it's now in theaters, all in celebration of Mario's 40th anniversary. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they announced a 3rd Super Mario Galaxy for the Switch too. But before that even happens, I think it's finally time I talk about the sequel of one of the most popular and my all-time favorite Mario game, Super Mario Galaxy. And unfortunately, tell you why I feel so indifferent about Super Mario Galaxy 2, here on Star Jettison. Super Mario Galaxy 2 was first revealed at E3 in 2009 and was released on May 23, 2010 for the Nintendo Wii, which is the version I'll be playing on the Wii U. I know I should probably experience it on the Switch, but it's the original copy I've had since high school, and I want to see if it holds up after all these years. And after experiencing Galaxy on the Switch, thanks to the 3D All-Star collection, my guess is that it has the same control system whether you use the Pro Controller or use the Joy-Cons like a Wiimote, thanks to the game's gyro control. Though one of the biggest and supposedly controversial changes to the game I know of was the Toad Bank being removed and being replaced with an Amiibo Station that give you more star bits. Personally, I don't really mind since the bank was only used for other save files, and you could stock up on star bits real easily in this game. But let me know if I'm wrong in the comments. Speaking of comments, some of you are probably wondering why I feel so indifferent about Galaxy 2. I'm not saying the game is bad, far from it. I enjoy the game from beginning to end, but I can't really state that 2 is better than the original. So where to begin with this predicament than the beginning and comparing moments of gameplay with the first game. The game begins with the celebration of the Stardust Festival that happens once a century. And this is the beginning of why I feel so indifferent with Galaxy 2, and that how it treads on the same things that happened in Galaxy 1, but tweaks it in a way where it doesn't feel as impactful in my personal opinion. It's not the tutorial, as I did think that was handled pretty well, teaching you how to play the game while on your way to Peach's castle, but instead of the impact Bowser leaves when he attacks the Mushroom Kingdom and takes Princess Peach as the original, which felt grand and epic, this kind of feels like Nintendo just doing the typical Mario plot point for point without much effort. Ironically enough, that's what they would be doing for the next generation of Nintendo games. But they probably did this just to get straight to the adventure, which I take as a positive. Galaxy's tutorial was a little on the slow side, but since we're straight into the adventure, since this is a sequel and all, it makes sense that you'd want to get straight to it, since you already know how to play it from the last game, leading to the beginning of an all-new intergalactic adventure. And after obtaining the first Power Star, you're brought into another part of the game I have mixed feelings on. And that is the hub world of the game. And before anyone asks, no, my problem is not the new character they introduced in this area, Lubba, a pretty big Luma, who honestly doesn't have much impact to the story, but that would have later been fixed in the enhanced Switch version by adding an additional storybook expanding more on her lore. Instead, my problem is the whole world itself and navigating from galaxy to galaxy through the Starship Mario. When you see it's basically a small little comet, but thanks to the Power Star, it transforms into a planet in the shape of Mario's head. It's cute and surprisingly marketable if they actually made any merch of it. But compared to the Comet Observatory, it's not as grandiose or as memorable in my honest opinion at first. And over time, when navigating from galaxy to galaxy, the Starship Mario becomes more popular with other characters, old and new to the Mario series, from the little wood people named Whittles to the funny little birds. But now I gotta talk about how we use the Starship Mario to go from galaxy to galaxy. Instead of a giant hub world similar to the other 3D Mario games of previous titles, to navigate to a different galaxy, you go towards the helm of the ship and choose a galaxy that's closest to you using a classic Mario Bros. Styled map. Honestly, I can understand why they did this, as the game had over 20 different galaxies, both in the original and the sequel, and it was a bit tedious trying to get from one galaxy to another in the Comet Observatory, compared to navigating a menu, going from one section to another in Galaxy 2. I don't think it's a bad design, I just prefer one over the other. But now that I'm done complaining for the most part, I should talk about what I actually liked about Galaxy 2. And it starts with the major mechanic that they include within the sequel, even advertising on the box art itself. And that, of course, being Yoshi. You're introduced to Yoshi as a brand new mechanic, so you actually get to ride him, and your reticle for collecting star bits is now in the shape of his tongue, so you can actually pick up and eat enemies and projectiles, and spit them out. Yoshi can also consume some special fruits, only found in this game, that will allow him to do specific mechanics, depending on what fruit you consume. such as the blueberry balloons, which allow Yoshi to inflate and exhale hair, allowing Mario and Yoshi to get to higher areas, dash peppers, allowing Yoshi to go insanely fast, adding great momentum through your adventure, and the bulb fruit, which definitely has really great design as well as builds great tension, depending on how it's utilized, and I think it's handled pretty well as it illuminates hidden platforms for a limited amount of time, and if you don't find another one, you're basically going out into space. Some people will say that these are just gimmicks as they only appear in level-specific areas, but isn't that how most power-ups work in Mario games? Speaking of, we're also introduced some other brand new ones, and I'm not gonna lie, these are probably my favorite in the series, like the Rock Mushroom, allowing Mario to turn to Rock Mario, turning into a boulder that runs over his enemies, along with fun bowling mini-games, which I always love since I love bowling. And of course, the Cloud Flower, which might be one of the best power-ups in the Mario series, where Mario gets a cloud-like uniform that gives him 3 little cloud puffs, and if you spin, you create a platform. Though you're only limited to the amount that you have until you grab another Cloud Flower, and the ability deactivates when you get hit, or when you touch water, like with the Bee Mushroom, which makes its grand return along with the Boom Mushroom and the Spring Mushroom, which I still think gets a little too much hate. Sure, it's not the best, but far from the worst power-ups in the series. Mario also gets a drill item that he can use around, but he can't do the long jump with it. And this would later be replaced with the Drill Mushroom in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. But not everything from Galaxy 1 made the return to 2. The Red Star didn't return along with the Manta Racing or Bubble Blowing puzzles. Ball Rolling did return, however, and they made new challenges to replace the ones we lost. Manta was replaced with Fluzzard, who controls the same way as the Manta, but it's more an opinion on whether or not you like these sections. I just like the Jibberjays. They need to make a comeback. Cosmic Mario's changed as well, turning from a race challenge of the original to instead being a follow the leader game, where you're being followed by these Shadow Marios, and staying still or backtracking may lead to your doom. But the biggest change was how Comet Stars worked in this game. Originally, you were just wait and see if a challenge was available for you to take a Comet Star. But in this version, we're introduced a new collectible called Comet Medals, 1 in each galaxy, compared to 3 star coins found in New Super Mario Bros. Once when you obtain enough Comet Medals, a Comet Star challenge will unlock itself, and it will stay there no matter what, and each galaxy has a minimum of 2 to 3 Power Stars in total per galaxy. The reason why? Well, I'll explain later. You're probably wondering why I'm talking more about the detail and changes compared to the original instead of talking about the graphics, level design, or even the gameplay of Mario Galaxy 2. Well, there isn't really much for me to talk about compared to Galaxy 1. The gameplay, level design, and structure are kind of the same, but that's important for what makes a sequel. But considering this came out 3 years ago after the first game, it makes sense that they use the same assets to boost the production speed of the game. Not saying there aren't any new things in Galaxy 2, with the power-ups, new enemies, characters, and especially the new bosses they made sure to add enough new elements so as not to make the game exactly the same with minor changes. Nintendo isn't like those AAA game companies that re-release the same game but worse on a yearly basis. They treat their titles with the utmost respect, and sure, they may fumble a few times whether it's a dumb mechanic or a bad business choice, but they do the one thing most major game developers forget to do: make sure the game is fun, no matter how you play it. And Galaxy 2 is still a very fun game. But now that I've made my opinions pretty positive about Galaxy 2, it's when we get near the end game where my opinions take a drastic change for why I don't enjoy 2 over 1. As we navigate from galaxy to galaxy, we come across either Bowser Jr. or Bowser himself. Bowser Jr.'s boss battles have their own style and substance and are generally some of my favorites in the Mario series, from Gobblegut to Jr.'s giant mechs. Bowser, however, is basically the same boss battle where he punches the planet and you have to hit giant rocks or asteroids at him. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad boss battle, and it uses Mario Galaxy's gravity mechanic wisely, but I just prefer Junior's boss battles over Bowser's personally. But when we reach the final level, known as Bowser's Galaxy Generator, I think it's the right amount of challenge for the final boss battle, as you head towards Bowser's main domain using all the skills you've learned, navigating from planet to planet, and getting a little help from Yoshi too. When you finally reach Bowser one last time, only to face him the same way you have the last 2 times. There is a second phase, but somehow it's even worse, where all you have to do is just shoot him with comets as he's heading right for you. And you can kind of beat this phase in less than a minute, which is a shame because the final boss music is very good. Thank God they put this in Smash Brothers. But Bowser's been defeated, you saved Princess Peach, and also the Comet Observatory, and we finally get to see Rosalina. And this is one I honestly say is my least favorite part of this game, as Rosalina is my favorite Mario character, and her introduction and build-up in Mario Galaxy was surprisingly well thought out and emotionally investing, and here she is in the sequel of the mainline series she was introduced to and gets completely sidelined. which honestly kinda sucks as she's hardly even in the game, so it's more of a sweet farewell to the baby Luma than it is saying hello to one of the coolest characters in the series. He also takes Mario's hat, and Lubba takes Peach and Mario back home. We enjoy the credits, navigating our way back home to the Mushroom Kingdom, and the game is over. But that's not how we're going to end this for this video, as unlike my previous 3D Mario game reviews I've done in the past, I decided not just to talk about the post-game, but I want to experience it at 100%, and this is definitely one of the things I really don't like about this game. When you play the game, you unlock Luigi as a fully playable character automatically, with him originally appearing in small segments throughout your previous adventure. You also unlock the 7th area, with 6 out of the 7 new galaxies you can navigate through, which ain't a problem, but 9 or so issues. What? The galaxies you unlock are small snippets of stuff found in Galaxy 1, with a 8-bit Mario Purple Coin Challenge, ball rolling, a Super Mario Sunshine inspired level, a small segment from Super Mario Galaxy, but more annoying, a boss rush of classic Mario Galaxy bosses, and one brand new level. If you already got every other Power Star, you just have to collect these ones and any missing common medals to get all 120 Power Stars, beat Bowser again, and finally say we finish Super Mario Galaxy 2. Oh, right. This part. So, after you get 120 Power Stars, you unlock the Cosmic Jewel Green Star missions, where every level now has doubled in Power Stars. So you have to go back to previous galaxies, as all the previous galaxies you went through will now have 2 or 3 more Power Stars, or Green Stars in this situation. And this is just like simple missions where you go from point A to point B and you collect them. Nope. This turns into a scavenger hunt as the green stars are hidden in random parts of the world. Some are super easy, some may lead you to some really cool secrets like more star bits or even a way to get infinite 1-ups, something they would eventually master with Mario Odyssey when trying to get to secret areas in the game, and some of them are the most bullshit collectibles in Mario history. If not for Super Mario Sunshine, I generally think Galaxy 2 would have the worst when it comes to collectible hunting in any Mario game, with the green stars being my least favorite personally, as a post-game reward. But once when you find all 120 green Power Stars, you unlock one final galaxy, the Grandmaster Galaxy, the penultimate challenge, where you're up against a literal gauntlet of challenges that will make or break you as a Mario player. And this was the first of this tradition that would be found in later Mario titles, but once when you get that Power Star and the medal, the penultimate challenge, the perfect run, will begin, where you have to do the hardest challenge in any Mario game with additional bells and whistles. No checkpoints and only 1 hit point. Meaning if you perish, you would have to start the whole level all over again. And when I was younger, this took hundreds upon hundreds of attempts. Though ironically enough now, it only took me like 5 tries. But considering I was 13 when this game came out, it would also explain why I was having a hard time. It was a skill issue. But after successfully making to the end, you see Princess Rosalina again and get the final Power Star, and now she's a permanent resident of the Starship Mario. She doesn't do anything, but it's nice to see her here. And you also get a message from Nintendo staff thanking you for 100%ing, or in this case 200%ing the game. And yeah, that was Super Mario Galaxy 2. And after beating Super Mario Galaxy 2 again and complaining about its minor flaws, I realized, why am I complaining? It's a sequel to one of the best Mario games of all time, and I still had a really great time going on this adventure with Mario and Yoshi and Luigi all across the universe. If anything, Galaxy 2 made me realize that this could have just been an expansion to the original, and ironically enough, that's kind of how they advertised it for the Switch version. As it's basically both games together, they're still phenomenal titles, and they're still a must-have in your collection, though it has been a few years since the last 3D Mario adventure, which was Odyssey. And don't worry, I will talk about that game in the future. The Odyssey team will later make Donkey Kong Bonanza, and for those who already know, I really love that game so much. It'll probably be a little while longer, or they'll have a different team entirely for the next 3D Mario adventure. But one thing is certain with these titles, I will always love games like Super Mario Galaxy 1 and even Mario Galaxy 2, flaws and all, because they're just generally remarkable titles with great mechanics, great level design, and just full of character. And if Mario Galaxy 3 ever does happen, you know I'm going to talk about it. I mean, yeah, you can call me a Nintendo fanboy, but if you haven't tried these games for yourselves, trust me when I say you're missing out. If you like Mario Galaxy or prefer Mario Galaxy 2, let me know in the comments why you love these games, or why you don't, because your opinion also matters. But until then, this is AngelStar signing out from Star Jettison, and let the stars shine down on you.